Welcome back, True Seeker. Quick live stream here. Just going to cover some of the headlines that are buzzing. And as always, the patterns should be familiar. One is a former actor who appeared on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and portrayed a young Will Smith has died at 42 from an unexpected heart attack. And we're going to talk about what his passing seems to have to do with the actual Will Smith, as well as the 76ers, which Will Smith is a part owner of. I just got to point out every Thursday, the obvious 35s in the headlines. It happens every week. One of them today is in the world of basketball. LaMelo Ball, young star whose dad sacrificed his leg for his game against the Lakers last year, fined $35,000 for flipping off the ref. And again, just week after week. 35 in the news on Thursdays. Again, learn your gematria. We call it 35 Thursday. They rigged the NFL with 35 every single week, just about. And some weeks they make it so that no matter what happens, there's going to be a 35 on either side. Like tonight, Lamar Jackson goes into Miami with 35 career road losses, including the postseason. But if you only look at his regular season record, he has 34 losses. They've ensured that either way, 35 is going to play in the game. Goes on week after week with the National Fixed League. We're going to talk about the judge who is intervening on behalf of Snap. She wants to see the benefits flowing by the time the first rolls around. And yesterday we talked about the ritual with the first interruption to Snap, since the program was created 61 years ago by Lyndon Johnson. At least it was his pen that put it into motion. And then in case you missed last night's short video, because it hardly has any views, just a recap of the ritual with Erika KIrk and J.D. Vance appearing at the Confederate University, Ole Miss, the most Confederate university in the whole nation, that was established the same year Joseph Smith was assassinated, the founder of the Mormons. Again, the ritual couldn't be any more obvious. But let's start right here with the Fresh Prince actor dead at 42. So this poor man had a heart attack in Maryland. And they said he died yesterday, Wednesday morning, October 29th. That was 34 days after Will Smith's birthday, right? And again, this practice of coding numbers into words, gematria. Again, look up the song Gematria, the Killing Name. Look up the song Murder by Numbers by the Police. Look up the film Murder by Numbers. Look up the show, The ABC Murders, which is based on the Agatha Christie novel. Again, you learn this little simple code of letters and numbers. The rituals become so clear. So 34 days after Will Smith's birthday matters. Keep in mind, again, this man played a young Will Smith on The Fresh Prince, the man who's now dead at 42. Murder equates to 34, as does Black, as does William, as in Will Smith's actual first name, William. Will Smith's a part owner of the 76ers, which also equates to 34. And the night before this man died, again, he died early Wednesday. This game wrapped up late Tuesday. The 76ers won with 139 points, which is the 34th prime. And it was, 76ers versus the nation's capital when Philadelphia used to be the capital. But notice the 76ers became 4-0. And remember, this season did begin on 76 date numerology on Netanyahu's 76th birthday. He went to high school in Philadelphia. Graduated in 67, did Netanyahu. The year the championship was between the 76ers and the Warriors, when the Warriors also started in Philadelphia. But anyway, 139 points, 34th prime, and the man dies in Maryland. Maryland, not all that far from where the game was played in D.C. So that's a whole lot of 34. And as I always say, these games are scripted. Death is part of the scripted games. The world of entertainment's deadly. This man was in one episode of The Fresh Prince as a child. And the 33rd anniversary of that episode just passed, which means that we're in the 34th year since it aired. The episode was September 21st, 1992. So there's also that. And again, the man's name, Floyd Roger Myers Jr., a former child actor best known for his role in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, has died. So, I mean, if you're in one episode and that's your best role, it means he doesn't have a big acting career, but just for that one episode, all these years later, his life cut short. His mom, Renee Trice, tells TMZ Myers passed away in the early hours of Wednesday morning from a heart attack at his home in Maryland. She tells us he suffered 3 prior heart attacks over the course of the last 3 years. 3, and now 33 years after the episode. She says she just spoke to her son last night. Floyd kicked off his career as a younger version of Will Smith in the hit sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air before taking on the role as a young Marlon Jackson in the television miniseries The Jacksons: An American Dream. So he was in season 3, episode 2. Will gets committed. And from the anniversary date of that episode, September 21st, until his passing 38 days later, and as we know, death, murder, killing, RIP, they all equal 38. Murder equals 34 when you run the alphabetic order forwards, 38 when you run it in reverse. Again, these things are no accident. So RIP to Floyd Roger Myers Jr. And yeah, I'm not even going to go deep on the LaMelo Ball thing. I just always point out every week there's a 35 ritual in the news every single week. And I bet if you look around the news, there's probably way more than this. But this one was on the top of ESPN's headline this morning. LaMelo Ball flips off the ref and gets fined $35K on a Thursday. And then to recap, in case you missed the Snap thing, again, Snap was created in 61 years ago. And the deadline to fund for November is Halloween, the day leaving 61 days left in the year, which will be 61 days after the anniversary of the creation of the SNAP program. And again, trick or treat, Halloween, where children are used to getting free food from adults, typically junk food. And just like most supposed adults in this nation, you know, they still eat like their kids, eating lots of junk food, sugary stuff, sugar water, sugar cakes, all kinds of crap. And it shows, again, a lot of these adults, they never really did grow up. And a lot of them who could be working and supporting themselves, they'd rather live off the government. And that's why I see the symbolism of this last minute coming together, as we talked about yesterday, to fund SNAP. And, you know, you're getting the headlines today that, you know, judges are getting involved. But prior to that, they said the Senate might have an agreement to fund the government. So... And as we talked about, you know, big number with Washington, D.C. We covered this yesterday. 61's the 18th prime. EBT's 18. Most people have no funds on their EBT card right now. 25 states suing the Trump administration. Again, Trump equals 25 the small way, 88 the big way, like it was the 88th Congress that passed the SNAP program. But yeah, now today, the judge who's intervening to save SNAP, she's from Boston, which equals 22 like SNAP. Last night, we took advantage of this with the rigged NBA. The Cavs fell to 2-2 away in Boston in the televised game. It was also the 22nd anniversary of LeBron making his debut with the Cavs. How time flies. 22 years. I remember when they were still showing his high school games. Anyway, yeah, the Boston judge is going to save SNAP. Today's the first of the last 63 days of the year. Her name equals 63. So how perfect that her number gets drawn for the national headlines. And it says a federal judge in Boston indicated Thursday that she will intervene. For the record, her name as her judge title, Judge Talwani, it does equal Thursday, just for the record. A federal judge in Boston indicated Thursday that she will intervene in a high-stakes fight over the Trump administration's decision to not tap into billions of dollars in emergency funds to help cover food stamp benefits for tens of millions of Americans in November. Right now, Congress has put money in an emergency fund for an emergency, and it's hard for me to understand how this isn't an emergency when there's no money and a lot of people are needing their SNAP benefits. U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani said near the end of a hearing, referring to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, the formal name for food stamps. Though the judge's options vary, one possibility is that she issues an emergency order that essentially compels the administration to tap into the emergency funds, while she indicated from the bench that she was likely to issue a ruling favorable to a group of Democratic attorneys general and governors who sued the administration earlier this week. She acknowledged that benefits, which should start being sent to recipients on November 1st, will be delayed. We're dealing with the reality that the benefits aren't going to be there on November 1st, she said. So again, just about 25 states suing, and now this being the judge that intervenes. Remember the gavel, judge, Trump. They're all words that equate to 25, right? Judge and gavel are the exact same in all 4 base ciphers. So, again, here we are in 2025. But yeah, what could make funds there by November 1st was the headline that broke prior to this, that the Senate thinks they're on the verge of the deal. So we'll see if it becomes the story tomorrow, Halloween. And yeah, just about 88th Congress passing snap. Again, 88 being the number that's always been the Trump number, as we've covered 1,000 times since 2015 when he announced when the 88 ritual started right away. And they're reminded of 1988 when Oprah asked Trump if he'd want to be president someday. Again, Charlie Kirk recently shot 88 days after Trump's birthday, at least so we're told. Now, Erika Kirk, the new head of Turning Point, has her first public meeting at a campus with students since the assassination, and she just happens to choose Ole Miss and be alongside J.D. Vance 88 days after his birthday. Again, remember, Trump equals 88, Turning Point USA equals 88, the Republican Party equals 88, Erika Kirk born in 88. So many 88 things, including the Snake Eyes movie predictive programming where the actor Charles Kirkland, who's assassinated while sitting next to the man who's supposed to be Donald Trump, him being 88 years old at the time. Again, Evergreen, Colorado equals 88, where the shooting happened right after Kirk, which is where Trey Parker of South Park went to high school and graduated from the high school in 88, and et cetera, et cetera. Again, 88 days after J.D. Vance's birthday, this becomes the news. And the thing about Ole Miss is it was established in 1844, the year that Joseph Smith, the Mormon founder, was assassinated. Mormon also equals 88, like, again, Charlie Kirk in the Mormon state, Utah, and supposedly a Mormon assassin. And then, yeah, just the whole, buzz about Civil War. That was the word everywhere, all over the media after Charlie Kirk, social media. The first speaker at Charlie Kirk's memorial, the first thing mentioned, the U.S. Civil War. And there's no university in the nation that has more Civil War and Confederate connections than Ole Miss. The rebels are named after the Confederate soldiers. Again, the ritualism is just so blatant. It's so obvious. And somehow, some way, very few people care to see it for what it is. Everyone's just directed the way the algorithm, which is annoying. And then people just listen to what shows up in their feed. This Ian Carroll guy, I don't know where he came from, but Joe Rogan had him on. He's showing up in my feed, people's interviews with him showing up in my feed. He's online saying that people have gone too far, accusing Erika Kirk of being in on some conspiracy. It's just like, how is this the famous person in the truth community? I mean, isn't that an obvious gatekeeper, an obvious disinformation agent? It's just, it couldn't be any more obvious. Born in 1988 was she. How many men are married to women several years older than them? It happens sometimes, but it's not common. It's usually the other way around. Charlie Kirk, born in 93. She's born in 88. Again, she came from a Trump beauty pageant. Her parents are part of the, what did Eisenhower call it? The military-industrial complex. But yeah, it's just same thing we talked about the minute the news broke. First thing I brought up was that the Charlie Kirk ritual was 88 days after Trump's birthday. The man who supposedly put up 88-foot flagpoles at the White House out of his own pocket. The man who saw the Pope die at 88 on his 312th day of his age, only to get the first American Pope from the 312 area code, the same amount of electoral college votes he got, the Chicago one, like where Charlie Kirk's from. Not far from where Joseph Smith died in Illinois, back in the year that Ole Miss was established, when Illinois is the land of Lincoln, the Civil War president. All right. Anyway, I got to keep this one short and sweet, guys. I got to hop over on the Patreon. We're going to start our Thursday night, 35 Thursday live stream here in a few minutes. But yeah, I just wanted to cover a few of the buzzing headlines. And This King Charles stripping his brother of his royal title. I'll have to look more into that one. The royal family operates by the code as well, as we know. King Charles didn't lose any of his titles when they sacrificed those kids at University of Virginia and University of Idaho for him. So maybe somebody should look into that. Let's see here. Fox News, what do they got? Ex-Biden. Fox News is nothing but politics. If Fox News is probably the very worst news source. It's just nothing but politics, almost always avoiding the big story of the day just to focus on some political drivel. A day doesn't go by where they're not focused on the Clintons or Obama. It's like, what about what's going on actually right now at the moment? MSNBC, let's see. Over 42 million Americans are about to feel the sting of Trump's apathy. Of course, the right-wing trolls on YouTube doing a lot of collages right now of Black Americans on TikTok pissed off about the SNAP benefits. And again, 42, just that number stamped all over Black history. And I didn't even bring that up with the Will Smith story. It just went without saying, right? I don't think I mentioned the whole dead at 42 part, right? In case you're new here, 42. Slavery, the N-word, Tuskegee, February, about every word you could ever think of connected to Black history equates to 42. So yeah, a young Black actor dead at 42. I think it's pretty transparent. All right, we will leave it there for now. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the work. And see if we can get another video up to 5K views. It's been hard. It's been hard. Ever since they took down the Charlie Kirk videos, it's been impossible to hit 5K. All right, until next time, Truth Seeker.